As I get older, I'm starting to realize that maybe my parents were right when I was younger. Maybe it really is that dang phone. That and the social media and its grip that it has on pretty much everybody at this point. I mean, those same parents that were telling me that the phone is the problem when I was younger are nowadays arguably more addicted to their phone and scrolling than I am. How's it going, guys? I'm Tree Stain, and I want to talk about how social media is kind of ruining everything that I love. Before we get started, I do want to thank everyone for the support recently. I'm still a very small creator, and I've been enjoying this a lot, and it's you guys and your support that keeps me motivated to even continue to do this. So if you enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and if you're on mobile, maybe even hit that hype button. Thanks for watching. Let's get into it. So I do feel the need to clarify that there are some fantastic parts of social media. The ability to keep up with friends and family that are distant is awesome. Being able to keep up with relatively unbiased news about what's going on in the world is great. Having a place that is sort of a collection or record of our past can both be embarrassing and really cool at the same time. It can be used as an educational tool. You can learn just about anything online at this point, completely free, all with a simple search. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how it's ruining everything. Not just in my life either. It's likely doing it in yours. You just haven't taken a notice of it, or you have and want to change, and I have some tips on how I can maybe help you towards the end of this video. Now, I could probably make an entire 20-minute video on just the topic of self-image and comparing yourself to others, and that whole topic about social media. While I will touch on that a little bit later on, I think everyone is more than aware now of how easy it is to feel bad about yourself and where you are in life just from scrolling online for 10 minutes or so. Because of this, I'm going to try to stay away from that as much as I can. At this point, I think we have all heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy. Besides that, I think the main thing social media is ruining is social interactions. So to give a little more insight of my life, I work in a very small retail establishment in the southeast of the United States. In case you don't already know, the South is heavily known for their hospitality and general country-style small talk. Well, in this establishment that I work in, we make it a point to have great customer service and greet people at the door and ask if they need help or we can help the customer with anything. Here's how the interaction normally goes. The customer walks in, we greet them. Hey, how are y'all today? They respond something along the lines of, we're doing great today. What about you? I reply, not too bad. Is there anything I can help you guys with? And then they'll say something along the lines of, nah, I think we're just looking around. And then generally that's the end of the interaction. We may check on them a time or two while they're in the store shopping, but that's pretty much the extent of it. Then here recently, we've noticed a lot of interactions with younger people just being really odd, in my opinion. I'm 26, and I know I'm not super old or super young. I'm kind of like right in that sweet spot right now. But the interactions typically start off the same way. We'll greet them with hey there, how are y'all today? Or how are you guys doing today? Something like that. And then we'll get into just this like silent stare from them. Sometimes we'll try again because, maybe they didn't hear us or maybe they didn't understand. And we'll get the same result. We'll just get a deadpan stare from them, and then they'll just kind of start shopping and walking around. Then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, if we're in the same area as them in the store, maybe helping somebody else or restocking something, we may check on them again, and we'll get the same thing. Just a deadpan stare followed with silence. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody wants to be talked to or wants or even needs help when they come in. And that's fine, we understand that. But even the slightest bit of interaction would be a little nice. I mean, tell us to leave you alone if you have to, but that's better than just an awkward silence created by social anxiety. I do believe that a lot of it has to do in part with a bunch of different variables, but a good bit of it stems from people not knowing how to socialize anymore because we're kind of too sucked into our phones to talk to people. Then there's probably my least favorite type of interaction that I have with people. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced anything like this yourself. But let's just say you're having a conversation with someone and about halfway through they pull out their phone and then get distracted and start scrolling on TikTok or Instagram in the middle of it. And about halfway through your statement, you realize the person isn't taking in a single word that you've said, and you kind of just stop talking. This one specific interaction happens way too often to me to not be a problem for other people as well. Let me add that this isn't even an age thing either. I mentioned before my parents scrolling more than I do, And I would argue that they are the main culprit of this interaction for me personally, and my dad is almost 60. Let's go back a bit into shopping and chat a bit more about how the shopping experience now has changed because of social media. So, being that I work in a small business retail setting, let me add that this is a very long-standing business, and it's been open for well over 50 years at this point. And as a result, we do tend to have quite a lot of dead stock because my boss is someone who doesn't get rid of anything. Well, because we have a lot of dead stock in the store, we tend to get a lot of resellers coming in looking for it. Now, I'm not going to knock reselling, as I've done it before myself in different ways, and it's honestly at this point one way for people to stay financially afloat these days. It's gotten a bit more popular to the point to where people are coming in thinking that they're entitled to the stuff. They think that they deserve to get something for nothing or a crazy good deal on stuff, and generally, every single time they come in, they tend to leave everything in a crazy mess. I remember we had one guy come in, go into one of our back rooms, and just start going through boxes of old stock. And then when he found out that we weren't going to give him some insane deal on stuff that we still sell at regular price, he left everything in a disaster in the back. While I can't blame all of this on social media, I do think it plays a major part in the increase of resellers that come into our store. Very similar to resellers, another point of contention that has been made much worse because of social media is scalpers. People are scalping everything at this point. Pokemon cards, PC parts and consoles. Hell, my wife has even shown me some makeup sets and perfumes are being scalped for exorbitant prices of money for no other reason than it being special edition. Once again, I'm not entirely sure that I can blame anyone for trying to make some extra money at times, but nowadays it seems like people are doing this as a full-time job almost. And social media has not only enabled this and enabled more people to do it, but has also exposed it and expanded it into products that really shouldn't be hard to find. And don't even get me started on e-commerce and how much online shopping sucks now. I mean, nowadays there's some companies you can't even find in stores anymore because they've gone solely online, but I think that's more Amazon's fault than social media, and that's a whole other topic. Then comes the hobbies. I mean, just about every single hobby that I have has been almost completely ruined by social media at this point. Everyone is trying to have that next big video or next big TikTok for everything. One of the main hobbies that I'm into is cars. If you go online in the world of automotive content at this point, just about every single car on YouTube and TikTok has over 1,000 horsepower, and every single car is one of one or is super rare. Every car has some crazy expensive body kit on it now, and I know I shouldn't compare myself to other people, but it makes it really hard to appreciate my car that I've worked so hard to have when I see all of these other crazy builds I would love to achieve someday to some extent, and I probably won't have the resources to do so. It's not just cars either. It's every hobby that I have. Tech and PC building is the same way. Nowadays, people think you need some absurdly expensive modern gaming PC to do basic tasks that don't take that. Everybody thinks that they need an RTX 4090 or an RTX 5090 or some crazy thing to do basic, simple tasks or just general gaming. And speaking of gaming has even been affected for me, as I find myself being influenced at times, creating this want to play like 20 different games all at one time and achieve a bunch of different things in those games. I almost feel overwhelmed by playing video games nowadays, and it's always a comparison thing. I mean, even my wife and I were chatting about this the other day, and she said something along the lines of how she doesn't even like watching most sewing videos or sewing content anymore, because she finds herself wanting to drop a bunch of money on this new high-tech sewing machine that came out, or all of these new ways to store fabric and thread when everything we have works perfectly fine for our needs. We live in a world where all we do is consume and consume and consume. It's a constant barrage of buy this thing, or how buying this thing changed my life, or buying this thing will be more effective or efficient than what you're doing right now. This right here is the main reason I've been on this journey over the past year to use my phone less. Instead of being in the mindset of I need this item to do more and more or I need this thing to do this, or I need to do more. It's more, 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 more. It's not like that anymore. I'm in this mindset of I'm going to use what I have until it either breaks or doesn't do what I need it to do anymore. This is a bit of a more technical part of this video, but to put this in perspective, if you're into PC building or gaming at all, you might understand some of this. But I built my PC that I'm using right now almost 8 years ago at this point. It's an i7 9700K from 2018 with 32 gigs of RAM. And about 6 years ago, I upgraded from a GTX 970 to a GTX 1080, and that's still the part that I'm using. Nothing else has changed in that computer. Up until this year, it has done everything I've thrown at it and then some. And it is just now starting to not be able to do the things that I want to do with it. If it says anything, the footage you're seeing of this crazy render distance modded Minecraft gameplay you see, and you already know Minecraft isn't optimized at all, on top of recording, is being recorded and rendered on that same PC. After seeing how long this PC has lasted me, I've been getting more and more into a mindset of finding these buy it for life items. There's this whole subreddit of buy it for life items that I've been getting really into that I highly recommend checking out if you're just looking to consume less, to just be less of a consumer. So with all of that said, you may ask something along the lines of, well, Treestain, how do you go about not being influenced by social media in your day-to-day? That's a great question, viewer. Let me tell you how I did it. Now, when I originally started, I personally went scorched earth on my phone and uninstalled everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. Even YouTube was uninstalled at one point. I will be honest though, the YouTube thing didn't last very long, as YouTube is my primary form of entertainment, as well as one of the main ways that I do self-education and learn how to do a lot of DIY stuff. With that said, I do think temporarily uninstalling YouTube did teach me a lot about self-control when it comes to just scrolling in general. After about 3 months, I did end up installing Facebook and Instagram back for the sake of making social media posts for the business that I work at much easier. However, when I reinstalled social media back onto my phone, I have them all hidden completely from my home screen and the app search screen, as well as every single notification turned off on my phone besides the ones that I need for communicating with various people. If you don't want to go fully into uninstalling social media, you could go the route of using a black and white filter on your phone just to make it look more boring to look at, on top of just simply having the discipline to not consume as much. Now, I know that's a lot easier said than done because I originally tried that. But once you realize how heavily you are being influenced by the content you watch, you begin to realize how little the content you watch actually matters. I would argue that a good 80 to 90% of the content you see on Reels, TikTok, and other social media does not matter at all, and you would arguably be better off not seeing it in the first place. I promise the world isn't going to end, and you're not going to miss out on anything if you stop using the apps. That's about all I have for you today. I want to thank everybody who's made it this far into the video, and I do hope you got something out of it if you did. If you did make it this far and you have not yet subscribed, why don't you go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and help me reach my goal of 500 subs by the end of the year. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Adios.